We are approaching that time of year again. A time of great exhilaration. A time of great pleasure. A time of great fear. The darker sides of all crave that latter delight from themselves, but even more so from others. To satiate that hunger, our dark selves take note, interest, and entertainment in tales of the macabre that appeal to our deepest fears as only mortals face. The only way to achieve this is to begin the dark ritual where Nerdporial and a special guest will discuss a particular tale during this season to ward off pure evil, as well as to entertain and to educate. I humbly welcome you to the Serial Horror Chat. Okay, yeah, I put that together pretty quickly. So, well, everybody, welcome to another Serial Horror Chat. We're going to be talking about the black sheep of the Halloween franchise, Halloween 3, the Season of the Witch. And well, what can I say? This was John Carpenter's way of getting the buyers, the funders, like mainly Mustafa Akkad and I think Erwin Yablans, I think, was involved, to get them to fund something without Michael Myers, because he was done with Michael Myers. So, but before we get further into that, I want to welcome my special guest of honor, straight live from Japan himself. He identifies today as Gray Lee Wallace, but he's also known as Wakizashis Teahouse. What's up, Gray? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk some bizarre and weird horror with you, Nerdporial. So thanks for having me on today.
Bizarre and weird horror is an understatement, especially the way I initially reacted to this movie, especially renting this without seeing the box. Or actually, I don't even remember. Maybe I did see the box. Maybe I just, I saw kids trick or treating, and I'm just like maybe Michael's in this movie. I was like, where's Michael? Where's Michael Myers? I'll be honest. I saw this movie before I saw Halloween 2. Halloween 2 was not available at my video rental store at the time. So before we get into this, I want to know how. So this was something that you suggested that we do. So I was curious, like, how you initially saw this, if you saw this in theaters, and just tell me, like, how you got into this.
I'm pretty old, aren't I, Nerdporial? So I saw it as a kid on TV the first time, and I think maybe I was like halfway into the movie when I started watching. I was wondering, what is this? This is really weird. It was kind of mixture of sometimes almost comedy, but sometimes really gross out horror scenes, but not what you expect from a traditional Halloween movie. And on that note, Nerdporial, had you seen the original Halloween before you saw part 3, you say?
I did. I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. So my dad had a VHS copy.
Wow.
All the way from 1978, or 1979. It was like one of the oldest video releases, and it had the famous poster with the hand with holding the butcher knife and everything. I'll be honest, when I first saw the box, the poster or the artwork, what made me I was like, I think I was 11 or 12. I was too scared to turn on the movie, to watch the movie by myself. So it wasn't really until I went to a Suncoast Video. I was going there all the time, when I was 12, 13 years old, looking for Star Trek VHS tapes to see what they had, and maybe, look at them, look at the boxes, and if I had money, I'd buy them. But there was one time where they had a bunch of trailers on the mounted TV at the store, and they showed the trailer to Halloween. And after I saw the trailer to Halloween, I was like, you know what? After I see Jamie Lee Curtis, begging little Tommy Doyle to open the door to let her in because Michael Myers, or the Shape, is walking towards her. I was like, okay, I got to watch this now. And then I finally got the nerve to watch it. And, I was like, wow, that movie stayed with me. I'll say it was something I was. What's weird was it. I knew I knew what happened in the movie. When I was a kid, I must have seen it because the stuff that happens in the movie, like the closet sequence, I somehow subconsciously remembered. It's weird. And seeing Michael Myers' mask and everything, I always thought that was supposed to be Jason, but no, that was Michael Myers. So I was like, wow, it's weird when you knew about things subconsciously and it comes back to you in more ways than one. So, but yeah, about you? You see,
Absolutely, yeah. I hadn't seen any of the Halloween movies before I saw this one, so part three was my first, introduction to it. And as I say, when I later saw Halloween and Halloween 2, it was like, no way, what was this movie? It was like, were they going for, on purpose, were they going for a different direction? Were they going to trying to start maybe a franchise of, self-contained Halloween set stories? It was a strange one, but I've kind of grown to love it over the years, Napoleon, even though it is bizarre. Maybe that's why I like it.
oh yeah, I agree.
It's
And
bizarre.
and before we go into any further, I want to say hello to the I want to say hello to the chat. So we
Yes.
got my buddy and member Brian Anderson, somebody named Wakizashi. I don't know what that is. We got Nosferatu's here. He says, I'm debating with myself of either being Gray or Steve for Halloween. That is a tough call. You gotta. I mean, if you're feeling pretty warm and you want to wear a tank top, you gotta go Steve. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Steve all the way.
And then we got Ghouls, Monsters, and Castlevania Are Us. What's up? He goes by so many different names, but yeah, he does like a lot of streams. He plays video games. It's a great channel. He's very friendly. Anytime the new person in the chat comes on, he always makes them a mod and always like is willing to, he's part of the hashtag We Grow Together mantra, where
Nice.
where people are willing to, help each other grow and everything. Because yeah, I mean we're fellow content creators and we're all in this together. Well, most of us are. Some aren't, but that's just life. So, so Gray, where should we start? You want to start talking about? Let me see. What did I write down? You want to start talking about like the whole idea of them trying to do an anthology? Like, what do you think of that compared to just keeping on making sequels with Michael Myers? Because one thing I do know is that like John Carpenter was miserable writing Halloween 2. So he would be he would be directing The Fog. I think The Fog came out in 1980. He would be directing that during the day and be working on all the other projects during the day. It was like late at night with several 6-packs of Budweiser or something. He would be drinking, trying to write the sequel to Halloween, which was something that the studio demanded of him. He's like, either you do it or we're going to get someone else to do it. And he felt compelled to finish it, and he just couldn't come up with ideas. So he had to come up with the motivations, and that's where Michael Myers, we find out Michael Myers has another sister, and Jamie Lee Curtis is actually his sister. And I've listened to interviews where he's talked about Halloween 2 versus Halloween 3. It's like Halloween 3, awesome, great movie, loved being a part of it. Halloween 2, shit, hate it. He hated Halloween 2.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that I read somewhere in Emporio that the director of this one, of Halloween 3, Tommy Lee Wallace, he was asked to do part 2, but he declined. Is that right? He didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I believe it's because the person that was the main person who was like given who was funding money was Dino De Laurentiis, and Dino De Laurentiis wanted to maximize profits. What do you do?
Yeah.
More blood, make it more graphically violent. And it got to a point where even Tommy Lee Wallace was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So they ended up giving it to, I believe, Rick Rosenthal, who ended up directing Halloween 2 ultimately. So, but he got his gig with this one. This was produced directly by Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And they said, we're not going to, they're like, let's do another Halloween. Halloween 1 and 2 were successful. Let's keep this going. And they're like, no, we're not doing any more Michael Myers. We're done with that. Like, what else are we going to do? We're just going to have him keep killing? Well, let's just say the studio got its way and they kept making more and more Halloween movies. And they just kept getting worse. And they just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And
Do you know
like,
what? I can't remember part two, Nepal. It's been so long. The original one's always in my head, but part two, I've very hazy. Have you seen it recently? Do you rate it?
I Halloween 2.
Yeah.
That was the one where it takes place the same night as Halloween.
Oh.
And
I,
so the movie begins with Jamie Lee Curtis opening the door, having the kids leave. So the end of the first movie, and then
right.
of course Michael Myers gets back up like he's Data, like he's a robot, like he's a Terminator, and he gets up and he starts moving, creeping towards her. Then Dr. Loomis goes up the stairs and shoots him, and then that's where the similarities end.
Wow.
And then they we then Loomis goes after Michael Myers, and that's how the movie
Yeah.
begins. And of course the dumb neighbor comes out. He's like, "What's going on here? Is this all some kind of joke?" Like, shut up, shut up. They were screaming. You didn't do anything. So that's the horror back then. So, and then of course the rest of the movie takes place in the hospital. Jamie Lee Curtis is taken to the hospital, and Michael Myers finds out where she is by radio because apparently he understands language,
Oh.
and he goes to the hospital and just starts offing the staff until it's just him and Laurie. And Laurie, they have another final girl moment chase in the hospital.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. You've that reminds me now. Yeah. I think I remember the hospital scenes, but it's been too
Yeah,
long.
and then like they lure Myers to like a room with gas, and Jamie Lee Curtis shoots him in the face, shoots him in the eye, so he's bleeding from his eyes. And then Loomis takes out his lighter and he blows himself up with Myers, and that was supposed to be the end of both of them until Halloween 4 came out, and kept it going. So Dr. Loomis just has like a small little scar on his head, and that's it. That's the result of being in
Okay.
a massive explosion. So as far as I'm concerned, Halloween 2 is the final film of the originals, and that's why they want to make Halloween 3 totally different. So
I got it.
yeah, so that's Halloween 2. So does that have anything to do with Halloween 3? Nothing.
No.
What do you think of the idea that Halloween is a movie in this movie? I thought it
Yeah.
was trippy as hell.
That
Very
was
meta.
cool. They actually advertise it, don't they? It comes on TV. It's a commercial before the Silver Shamrock commercial. It's like nice.
Before the evil
Yeah.
giveaway. So they put so like they have him. So they have Tom Atkins is in this movie, and I mean one thing you can never two things I remember about Tom Atkins from this movie: his mustache, and the 5 second scene where he's in bed with the girl. You get up and you get a clear view of his ass. You just get a clear view of his ass. And I was just like, why? I mean, I'm just like, I know Tom Atkins is a man, he's a Chad in that regard, but come on, I don't want to see his ass. But then again, this was the '80s, and it was that was pretty much the limit of the nudity in this movie. But other than that, what do you think of the acting? What do you think of the cast?
Yeah, I actually like him in the part. Believe it or not, was it Dr. Dan Chalice? Great name. And Neporial, he's like a leading man that would only kind of appear in a Carpenter movie, if you know what I mean. He's not your traditional leading man. He's different, more like a character actor. But he came to the fore in it.
Like there was one movie where he was like a complete badass. I'm trying to remember which movie it
Oh,
was. Was it like Return of the Living Dead or something? No, it wasn't that one. No, let me see.
his
Night of,
moustache is
there's
legendary though in this. His
oh
tash is awesome.
oh the movie's called Night of the Creeps. There was a
Oh
movie he
yeah,
was in
yeah.
called Night of the Creeps where he just plays a complete badass. Like he's just like tough guy, awesome, everything. And I still have not seen it. I've seen clips of it from either like Angry Video Game Nerd documentary or you ever see In Search of Darkness?
I haven't seen it, but I know it. I know of it. Yeah, I really want
Okay.
to see that. I
Yeah,
really
they're
want to see
already
it.
doing a part 3. I want to see if I can get involved in helping promote stuff. Like the same people are trying to make an Aliens, like a true like 5-6 hour Aliens documentary.
Oh,
So they had In Search of Tomorrow, or they had In Search of Darkness, which is the horror stuff, '80s
yeah.
horror stuff. Then they have In Search of Tomorrow, which is the '80s science fiction. So they have they cover Wrath of Khan, Empire, Return of the Jedi, Blade Runner. Blade Runner, your favorite movie, of course, and plenty of others. And they're doing a documentary on aliens, like a true like.
Oh.
So I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out what. It'd be an interesting thing to look into. But yeah, so. But yeah, and I also want to welcome Jake D. Jake D's here.
Hey, Jake D.
Poriel Admiral to the Gray Man. Glory to the Whoop Stoats guy. I haven't seen him around here in a long time. I have not seen Whoopa around here. I guess Whoopa has abandoned me.
No, I hope he's good. Hope he's Genki.
Yeah, I think he's Genki. So, all right. So what? So besides Tom Atkins, what else did you think of? Like, what did you think of the old man? You know, one thing I did recognize: the old man from RoboCop is
Yes.
the villain in this movie.
I thought that was a note.
O'Hurley as Conal Cochran.
What a great name. Yeah, Dan O'Hurley. Hurley with a Cork accent,
Hurley,
a nice Irish accent there.
Hurley, okay. Yeah.
Remember him from...
that look.
What was it? RoboCop, as you said, he was so good in that. And also Twin Peaks, he played quite a part in the series. Yeah, he was in that.
I have not seen Twin Peaks. That's another thing I need to do. What about I'll never forget my favorite, the thing that I think of him the most when he's on screen. It's like, Dick, you're fired. Thank you. Boom, 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 boom. Then shoots poor Dick Jones out the window. Yeah. Spoiler alert for RoboCop. So, but I thought he was a great villain. He was very menacing. They didn't make him like a buffoon or anything. They didn't make him look like a buffoon, which is something I'm always grateful for. And he's just evil. He was just evil because he wanted to, he wanted to bring back evil. He wanted to bring back Celtic tradition of sacrificing kids and kids and animals. I think he said animals and kids. I forget. So, and what is his evil? What is this diabolical plan? Who are the antagonists in this movie? Gray, I'll let you on that one. Who are these antagonists? We don't have Michael Myers. Can they fill the shoes of Michael Myers?
Can they? I know that's a question. It's weird, wasn't it? It opens with a really cool scene where someone's being chased down and the guy who's chasing him has no dialogue. The way he kind of moves, it's almost robotic, almost like a replicant, but not a good replicant, who can't like mimic humans. So yeah, androids or what? What was going on with that, Poriel? Are the bad guys androids? Puppets?
They're like marionettes. Like their gear and bike chain driven, like clockwork and everything. And apparently they encounter. So Tom Atkins breaks into Silver Shamrock. So Silver Shamrock is the evil company, the evil corporation that Conal Cochran runs, that is trying to kill all the children of the United States. I don't know exactly what their motivation is, but I don't know if it's. I'm curious because they only showed they showed all the cities of where all the kids are buying or wearing the masks. So we have to assume in this movie that every single child in 1981 or 1982, whatever year this movie takes place, they're all wearing masks and they're all going to be watching the Silver Shamrock giveaway. And when that happens, well, apparently there's a chip in these masks. And this chip has like a tiny little fragment of Stonehenge. Now, I don't know much about Stonehenge. Maybe do you know a whole lot about Stonehenge? I know Stonehenge is in I believe in UK.
Yeah, in the UK it's supposed to have magical powers as they used it in the movie. But how bizarre was that, Brian? That they said there's a great line in it where it's like they used one of the stones from Stonehenge. They managed to ship it over to America. And Dan O'Halloran says, "We had a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe how we did it." And that's it. There's no explanation.
No explanation whatsoever. You know what? That's okay. That's
cool.
So the Stonehenge apparently has this magic power that only the planets can determine. So this is the power of I don't know if this is astrology. I am totally dumb in that area, but he says in the movie, this is the power of the planets. Yeah. So in that case, what they show is basically a big giant blue laser that hits people, and then it just completely destroys your face, and then for some reason bugs and snakes come out of your mouth. The woman,
insane.
So the saleswoman was taking her little pencil or screwdriver or whatever, and was messing with the chip. Because she saw the chip, she was just playing with it. What's this? And then it just misfires and hits her straight in the face. And then what do we see? Well, maybe I'll share the screen. Let me
Do
see.
you have an image?
I
Nice
do.
one.
I have the movie. I have the movie. So I'm gonna see if I can find the
It's
image.
such a crazy plan, though, Paul, isn't it? A diabolical plan to basically, as you say, to sacrifice all these children who are wearing masks, watching a commercial at the same time, and they're going to get beamed by this kind of energy from Stonehenge,
Yeah,
Stonehenge Rock.
yeah,
So bizarre.
and we see what happens to. Okay, I got it. Perfect. Perfect. All right. If you don't like. Okay, wait. I got it.
Cover your eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. If you don't like disturbing images, you're not gonna like this. So, one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This is what happens when that blue laser hits your face. So you look. So her
Oh,
eyes are complete. This is the saleswoman. This is the neurotic saleswoman. So there's a lot of different types of characters in this movie. So there's Tom Adkins. There's Tom Atkins and the woman who's the daughter of the guy that was being chased in the beginning of the movie. We'll get into him, but they're in the town where the Silver Shamrock is located, and this is the neurotic woman who I think was there to buy some more masks for her store, and she tripped. She was tinkering with the circuit that came from the final processing of Silver Shamrock, and blue laser just hits her straight in the mouth. And then we see what happens to her, and like, look at this. Like, like there's like little creepy crawly things just coming out. Like, there's a hornet right here. There's a hornet right here that just comes out of her mouth. It's so random. Like, why are there living things coming out of her mouth? Like,
what
I
was
could
so
see.
weird, Nerdporial, it was like, as we know, it's not a Michael Myers, it's not a slasher, bloody horror movie, the usual style. But every now and then you got these really bizarre, gross out moments of just freaky body horror, and insects and bugs, and then later on snakes coming out of people's faces. Like,
And that
whoa.
was a kid, and that was what's weird was that was a kid. That was a brat. It was a bratty kid, so that kind of helped soothe the astonishment for me. But still, it's still a kid. Jeez.
Sadokar in the chat says he dated her once.
Oh no.
Oh no.
19, yeah, this is 1982. So there you go. So see that 80s hair and that just, oh my gosh, I have to get this off.
Great practical effects, Nerdporial, as we
Yes.
talked about yesterday. Great practical effects.
Yes. So, okay, so the beginning of we'll go back to the beginning of the movie. So a guy is running away from these robotic guys, and we hear that awesome John Carpenter Alan Howarth soundtrack. It's just
So
like
good.
it just brings the freaking tension to a T. Like, just brings it up to max. So there's plenty of jump scares in this movie. He gets caught by one of them. He thinks he's hidden from the car that's chasing him, but all of a sudden he turns around. And then you hear, one thing I love about John Carpenter music is like the sounds, the cues to know that there's somebody there, or to know that something is, just like in the original Halloween. They did that, and it scared me. Like, I've seen this before, and I forgot about that jump scare. He turns around, the guy's there, and he starts trying to choke him. And how's the runner get away? How's the old dude get away? He pulls a wedge that causes the car to crush him.
So
And
weird.
instead of hearing a crunch, we hear the sound effect. You ever watch Charlie Brown? You know the sound effect whenever Charlie Brown misses the football and falls on the ground, and they use that same sound effect.
Was it that sound effect?
It was exactly that sound effect. It was a sound effect that was common in plenty of 70s movies. Like whenever Clint Eastwood punched a dude and he fell on the ground, that was the sound that was made. That was the sound effect that they always used throughout the.
They used it in video
movie
games
industry.
too, didn't they? The early like beat 'em ups, the sound
they?
of someone hitting the floor, like the Bruce
Yeah.
Lee games, that kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
God,
So
it was so weird.
yeah, and then he gets to a gas station. The gas attendant's like, "They're gonna kill us! They're gonna kill us! They're gonna kill us!" And the gas station guy takes him to the hospital, and the runner gets in bed. He falls asleep. Well, let's just say I'm going to go into the cinematography here. One thing that I call a John Carpenter, I call it the John Carpenter style sidestep. You've seen the original Halloween. Remember how you have the frame, you have a frame of the movie, and you see someone walking away from the frame, from the camera. But then all of a sudden, to make it menacing, they have someone's back kind of sidestep into the frame, so you see the back of their back of their head, the back of their body, to know that that the people going ahead are being watched or stalked. I mean, it started with Michael Myers, and we see this again twice in this movie with those guys in the suits.
Yeah.
So there you go. And they did something similar. John Carpenter himself did something similar in the movie Prince of Darkness, which I mentioned quite a bit when I was doing this with Runner Blaze. So same thing, just that I call it that John Carpenter sidestep, where it's just super menacing. Get into the frame, and then you see them and they're being stalked. So, but what do you think? What do you think of the practical effects with the death of that one dude, the death of that runner dude in the bed? The guy takes his eyes, he's like, first you think he's gonna punch his head, but then he just sticks his two fingers like he's Moe from the Three Stooges, and just gouges his eyes out and then twists. Like,
I know,
all the way in.
It's weird because they're very clever. Again, they don't overly show it, do they? But it's suggested. I've got like a little note here. Just said it's the first or the second death if you include the android. The first proper grisly death scene is the man with the pumpkin mask in the beginning. Yeah, he's in hospital, and it's like they almost show his face like a mask, don't they? He's pulling his face. He's stretching his skin off almost.
It's
really weird.
It was a mask. I took a really close look, and I believe that was a mask in that second shot. Let me see if I can find it.
It's like they put the idea in your head. They show just enough that you're imagining what's happening next. It's like, oh no.
And I like how they show like the feet shaking and the hands are shaking.
Yeah.
Which was very messed up. And then of course the nurse comes in. And the nurse is like, "What's going on here?" And then she's just like, she's scared of the guy because the guy just walks out of the room nonchalantly, just wipes his hands on the curtain, the curtain divider in the hospital room, and then she screams. And then Tom Adkins tries to run and pursue the guy throughout the hospital. So we get a nice little shot of him running from. So he's basically chasing the camera. The camera's going backwards, and he's running towards the camera. And then of course we see the guy, the suit guy, just douse himself with gasoline, and then blows himself up in the car.
That was so unexpected, wasn't it? That was just like,
and that probably used up all the budget for explosion because the end of the movie they did not have explosions. They animated the destruction of Silver Shamrock. If you took a look at like the fire, it looked like it was animated.
Yeah, it did. It was such a bizarre scene that, as you're saying, Napoleon, you talked about the cinematography. When they show Dr. Dan like running through the corridors, chasing him, it's so good that the way that John Carpenter does that usually, I know it's Tommy Lee Wallace, but it was so well done. But yeah, he runs to his car. He doesn't do it in the hospital. He runs out to his car, sits down, puts gasoline over himself and lights a match. And it's like, what?
And it starts a fire, then, just for the sake of the audience, you have to have a big explosion.
Explosion.
Because that would not. I don't think that would have happened exactly like that. You didn't. So there's that death, and then there was the death of the hobo in the town. So the town is called Santa Mira, and just to give everybody the idea of what the town is. So Tom Adkins meets the daughter of the first victim, the first guy that gets the guy that gets killed, that gets his eyes gouged and twisted and everything. And they decide to go on a little, they try to play detective and try to investigate and find out what's going on. So they go to this town where they believe her father was last. And this town is called Santa Mira, and that's where the Silver Shamrock Industries are based. And the town is completely like under surveillance. It's like it's a company town.
Yeah.
The moment they drive in, everybody's like watching, like, what is going on here? Why are these people in our town?
Strangers.
Strange and creepy. Yeah. But apparently,
the surveillance state or the surveillance town was really ahead of its time, that wasn't it? I think because this was 1982 when it was released, so it was being filmed in 81 maybe. That was so cool. Cameras were everywhere, like watching them in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere.
I couldn't help but think of you know what company wanted to make their own city, wanted to make their own city of tomorrow? Disney. Disney World was originally supposed to be the Epcot was supposed to be originally be a city
Really?
for like a city for companies to go and do like R&D and come up with new ideas, new solutions for humanity, all of humanity's problems. And he died. Walt Disney passed away like during the initial planning of it, and so they're like, no, we're not doing this. We're just gonna make a bigger theme park, and we'll name the we'll name one of the we'll name the second attraction after the after his initial idea, Epcot. So Epcot Center, so everything. So, but that's what it made me think of. So here we have this town, and there's this big company. You think there'd be jobs for everybody, but there's this one hobo, and this one hobo is like, they won't hire me. And
Yeah.
so I want this company to burn because they won't hire me. And you know what? Can I believe that? In an 80s movie? Yes. So what do they do to you know what they do? You know what they do to him? They rip his
It's
head off.
unbelievable.
They
It's
rip
unbelievable.
his head off. They don't just twist his head. They don't just break his neck. They rip his head off. They twist his head off. So
I've got it down in my notes. It's crazy death scene number 2 of the town drunk. Literally, they just rip, like, not even in a weird way. They just kind of lift his head and it just separates from his body. That's it.
hey, Cochran, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Like, shut up.
I was only joking. It's gone.
They ripped his head off. You're like, wow, like there'd be no town left if that was that was truly a thing. So, but yeah, we already talked about the woman with the we already talked about the woman with the with the chip who got hit, who got misfired.
That came just after, didn't it? Just after the town drunk death scene. It wasn't long after we saw, what was her name? Marge Gutman. Great name.
Marge Gutman.
Did you know she was
Marge? Of course.
Marge Gutman. She was reading a book, Napo. Did you see? I didn't see the title, but it was by Carlos Castaneda, who used to write kind of supposedly true stories about sorcery and witchcraft in either Mexico or the southern part of America. Yeah.
Okay.
Don Juan, that kind of thing. Very interesting.
I did not. I wasn't familiar with that author because nowadays with horror or especially horror, they're always reading a Stephen King book. I know Stephen King is popular, but he's not the only.
I thought it was going to be a King book. Yeah, exactly. In the chat, so we've got sorry, the Thad that shouldn't be is in the chat. Maybe he can give a bit of info about that. I'm sure he'll know, Carlos Castaneda. But the whole witchcraft and sorcery theme of this movie, that's a nice little reference, I thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. Hey Matt, how you doing? It's good to see you. So yeah, we got. So. All right. So we got. So. Would you consider this a slasher movie? I'm curious.
No, not at all. That's why it was such a weird kind of departure from the Halloween franchise, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people do die, like one by one, but it just doesn't follow. Like they didn't want to follow the traditional mass killer
Right.
who's stalking usually teenagers, because teenagers are always the most troublemaking of age of anybody. But yeah, okay. Well, we got Matt has something to say. Let's see. Aleister Crowley. Okay, I've heard of him. Castaneda was like Aleister Crowley. You don't know if he was just writing fiction or he believed that stuff from his earlier books. Interesting. I have to read up on. I don't know anything about like.
He did a whole series of books supposedly about a sorcerer called Don Juan, who he was like studying in Mexico, maybe, or I'm not that familiar, but it's quite scary. He writes about supposedly real witchcraft and real spells actually happening, and you're like, come on, this can't be real, Nerporial. What do you reckon?
maybe I could try and find the. Let me try and find the the book. So we going a little bit further back. So why is Tom Adkins here, or Dr. Chalice? I like to call him Dr. Adkins, even though that's basically a diet. That's a diet plan mainly.
Nice.
I'm not, but like he meets this girl, and this girl claims to be the daughter of this guy. and she's talking. Apparently they have a funeral off screen. So she ends up asking Tom Atkins to help her. Why would she ask a doctor? Don't know. This is an 80s movie. This is an 80s horror movie. And Tom Atkins is like, you know what? I'm Tom fucking Atkins. If I'm a doctor, I'm still going to be the hero. So fuck you. Excuse me.
Neporial, one of the best scenes that you're talking about now, like what a Chad doctor he was. As you know, he's calling his wife from a payphone. He's saying, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't look after the kids again tonight." It's his ex-wife, and he's about to get into the car with this young woman, the daughter of the first victim, and he puts the phone down. He picks up a 6-pack of beer and then runs to the car with her. It's like what a doctor, what a Chad,
Yeah.
Where'd that beer come from? It's just so cool.
And you know what's funny? You know who played his ex-wife? That was the actress Nancy Kyes that played Annie in Halloween. So she was in a whole bunch of other John Carpenter stuff. She was in she was like the desk clerk in the Assault on Precinct was it
13?
Precinct 13. They saw
Awesome.
on Precinct 13. You ever see the original? The original.
Yeah.
I did not watch it. I remember my dad saw the remake that came out with Ethan Hawke. I never realized that John Carpenter made the original, but I saw once again, like Halloween. I saw on YouTube. I saw someone. I saw like a shout. I think I saw a Shout Factory like trailer for it, and they show this one dude. They show this one Caucasian dude just go up to a girl and shoot her in the head. And then I was like, okay,
Whoa.
I gotta watch this. Okay. I gotta watch this. So yeah, I know it's terrible. I know I'm a horrible person but that's, and I watched it and it was like a freaking zombie. It was like a zombie movie, even though it wasn't. It was like a zombie Western, final, like the Alamo. It was like the Alamo.
The Last Stand. Yeah.
The Last Stand, that type
Crazy.
of deal. And it was just, and you had the head guy, the head policeman. I forget his actor's name, but he had to team up with the main inmate or a prisoner to ward them off, because everybody else, all the people that transported them, everybody died. Everybody got shot by these. By this very diverse, it was a very diverse gang. It wasn't a triad, it was a quadrad where you had four leaders. You had the Caucasian, the black dude, the Hispanic dude, and the Asian dude, and that was the gang. And the gang was basically millions and millions and millions of people, or zombies. I'll call them zombies for that case. But that's how and there were shots that John Carpenter reused for Halloween. Like there was a moment where they took a guy. They knocked the guy. They shot a guy, and then the guy vanished on the grass. Made me think of Halloween. When they shoot Myers, and then Myers disappears, and that's how the first movie ends. It was a very similar type of shot. So
the characters you just mentioned, then you just listed off like a great list of diverse characters. And when was this movie made? As it's like you're talking end of the 70s.
It was 1970, 1976, I believe. This came out before Halloween. So yeah. But yeah, so we have so Nancy Kyes, she's only in like a single scene, but she's the ex-wife, and she's just like, where are you? Like throughout the movie, you're like, where are you? What are you doing? Why don't you take the kids? I'm not gonna take the kids because I'm fucking Tom Atkins. Fuck you.
Yeah,
I have a mustache.
Conference.
I got a girl, and we're gonna go on a trip. We're gonna solve a crime, and we're gonna screw twice. And that's Tom Atkins. That's Tom Atkins. And here's I need to show a picture of Tom Atkins right here. Let me see.
Oh, nice one.
Is it him on the phone being a complete, just being Tom Atkins? I mean, what can I say?
Come on, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a leading man.
That is a leading man. You're surprised he hasn't been in more stuff. I think he's still alive too. I think he's still with us. I think he's still. I don't know if he's still. He did some interviews for In Search of Darkness. So yeah, he's freaking still with us. He's not gonna.
Good.
Yeah, they got him to do stuff. So yeah, so there he is. So he meets this woman. So I got a question for you. There's two things. There's two things. Do you think Ellie, the daughter, the girl that he's having sex with, Do you think she was replaced by an android, or do you think she was always an android?
Oh, nice question. I think she was replaced at the end
You
because
think
that
she?
was one of the weird twists at the end, wasn't it? The kind of false ending and then another ending. It's like, wait a minute, is
Yeah.
she an android now? Is she a robot?
So what happens is, so she meets Tom Atkins in the bar. It's kind of convenient, but hey, she
Yeah.
wants him to help her. She wants a doctor, a night shift doctor to help her solve her father's death instead of going to the police. But hey, this is the '80s, and this is a horror movie, so schlock, maybe. I'm not putting it past them. But they go, they go and they investigate, and of course they pretend to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is so obvious. If you're gonna go under assumed name, do not choose Smith. Do not choose Smith. That's like a red flag right there. So, but what happens is the Cochrane and the Silver Shamrock people get wind of what they're doing, and she ends up going missing from their hotel room, and he finds her, or no, what happens is he doesn't find her. Cochrane says, "Oh, there she is on the screen, tied to a stretcher." Well, he releases her, and she runs with him, but she keeps her eyes wide open, and she doesn't utter a word. So I'm gonna have to agree with you, Gray. I initially thought she was always an android, but now I think she was replaced. So it makes you wonder. It gives you a question: what happened to the original one? Did they just kill her, or did they just
Yeah.
did they just tie her into a secret room and put the mask on her and everything, kind of like what they did with Tom Atkins? Because that's exactly what they did with Tom Atkins. They capture him, and they tie him to a chair. They put a mask on him, and he's got to watch the original Halloween. He's got to finish watching the original Halloween right when Jamie Lee Curtis is walking into the house. Michael Myers is waiting for her, and he's got the mask on. So right after the Halloween movie, then they'll have the giveaway, and that's when everybody turns into bugs, and that's when the blue lasers fire in the backs of their heads, and bugs and snakes, and kids start dying. That's the menace of this movie. So, um, but
I'm
yeah,
not sure, Naporial. How old was the main actor Tom Atkins? How old was he in this when he played this role? Because
I
there
think
is
he
quite
was.
an age difference between him and the young daughter. I know she's a woman, and yeah, but they're supposed to be a married couple. It was a bit strange, but she's too emotional early on in the movie to be an android. I think earlier
Okay,
on she's.
Tom Atkins was born in 1935, so he was in his late. He was 40. He was 46, 47 years old during this movie. So, and he's still alive. He's still with us.
Yeah, nice one.
So
She
yeah,
was she was pretty young.
so he was in his late 40s, and let's see how old she is. Stacey Nelkin, she is 24 years his junior, so she was only 22, 23 years old when this movie came out. That says and I gotta see some pictures of her. She's pretty. She's in a swimsuit. She's pretty hot. So,
I had a look at some
but
of the reviews, probably just a few reviews before we did the stream, and it got pretty slated, didn't it, back in the day? But people praised her performance as one of the high points of the film.
oh really?
Yeah,
I kind of thought her performance was kind of the weakest, but
yeah,
then
yeah.
again, I mean,
She came across like a new actress. I don't know if she was at the time, but that kind of thing. But she was okay.
yeah. Let me see if I can find it good. Let me see. But you know what I love? Oh, here we go. This is
Nice
this is
time.
it. This is perfect. So there's the moment in the movie where they want to maintain that they're charade that they're married, they're a couple,
Yeah,
and he's like, maybe Tom Atkins is like, maybe I should sleep in the car, or and she's like, you can do whatever you want to do. And he's like, that's the dumbest question ever. And he just goes and makes his move right there. He just kisses her right then and there, and then they do. I don't know if they screw them, but I'm assuming they do, because time passes. You hear the outside intercom saying, it's curfew time. They're coming up.
yeah. 6 p.m. curfew. That was very
Yes.
early, wasn't it, for a curfew?
Yes. Yeah. So,
I've
and
got
of course,
I've got the line here. I actually wrote it down. It was so good, so cheesy. Is he saying like, "Shall I sleep in the car?" Or And she goes, "Where do you want to sleep, Dr. Chalice?"
That's the dumbest question I've ever heard. He
It's
just
just
goes
so
and
good.
yeah, and I was just like, yes, yes. That's what a man does. So so there you go. And he just and then there's this moment where they're sleeping together. I forgot the Marge gets killed by the misfire, and so everybody's outside. They're taking her away. They're curious where they're taking her, and then this is where we meet Cochrane.
It's the first time he shows up. It's I don't know if it's halfway through the movie, which is quite cool, isn't it? We don't see the main villain until part way through.
Yeah, it was really surprising. Oh, her death, the coroner's death was crazy.
That was crazy later on, yeah. Another scene where you saw it panned out to just show the feet, the feet like that. Oh no.
Yeah, because they didn't want to, I don't think they had the money for the practical effects needed to really show it. And plus, you want to keep that R rating. One thing about movies like this, if you show too much graphic, they make it an X rating. I don't know if you know this, but like the Friday 13th movies really suffered from. They had to really cut down on like the violence to make that R rating, because if it was an X rating, the movie would go down the shitter. They wouldn't make any money whatsoever. It'd be for that reason.
Okay, I didn't know you had that in the States as well. I always thought that was just the UK. Back in the day, it was as you say, if you got an X-rated movie, that was it. It was kind of a death for the film, So so R is below X. No problem. I didn't know that. R rating is below the X. Yeah.
Yeah, or now it's NC-17, or maybe it was always NC-17. I don't know. So how does Tom Atkins save the day, or does he save the day? That's the big question.
Saving the day, I don't know. Again, it was really cool because it's a weird ending that does not quite an ending. You're not sure who wins in the end, and I don't want to spoil the ending, but there's a great scene of him just like shouting and shouting. Is it down the phone at the end? It's a weird ending.
So this is him trying to call his bitch ex-wife, trying to tell her to get rid of all the masks, because we know that those masks are dangerous.
Yeah.
If the kids wear them during the giveaway, that they're all going to die and bugs are going to be coming out of their mouths and ears and noses and who knows what else, their eyes maybe. I don't even fully understand it, but hey, this is Halloween 3.
So
and she's like, screw you, you're just jealous of the kids. I'm like, shut up! I hate.
They've got the masks at home. It's like he's already seen them at the beginning of the film. We saw that, so it's like no, you got to warn the wife, but she's not listening. She's not
listening. She's not listening.
Where are you?
So what he does is he rescues. So he ends up rescuing. What's her name? Oh, I love this.
Oh, it's a great scene.
Here. So he throws down all the chips. He takes a box of the chips and just throws them from a catwalk. And so it killed the impact of those chips hitting the ground causes all the misfires to happen, and it hits all the scientists, who I think are all androids too. Do you think the scientists were all androids because of their?
I think they are. Yeah, definitely. They get EMP'd, don't they? Almost they get shorted out by this electric shock or something.
Yeah, and then I think one of them hits the stone, the actual Stonehenge, and that's what causes everything. And then here we get this great clip. He looks up, he sees Tom Atkins, being the hero, but then we get this. There,
so bizarre.
He starts clapping. He's just like, you know what? I applaud you. See, that's just like a respectable way of saying, hey, you won, or maybe you didn't. So
Napoleon, what actually happens to him as well? I just watched it before the stream, and I wasn't even sure how he comes to his end.
He turns into like dust.
Okay. Oh, this is it. He was so strange. Right, it's like, what's going on?
They literally like made a dummy, and it's just like, he just stands there like that. That's just how they did it. So here we have. They took a dummy. They put it looked like they put like powdered sugar or something on the face to make it look like he was withering away into the dust.
It looks like it's drawn with pencil or something. It's just so weird. Such a weird scene.
It looks so bad. And with 4K, I can't wait to get this on 4K. So of course they're driving, and of course what's her name attacks him, and of course she's trying to choke him right here. Look at that, like that's look at those eyes, she's like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. So he takes the crowbar and beheads her with the crowbar really easily. But before that, she lost an arm. So her arm is still in the car. He goes back into the car, and the arm itself attacks him even though the arm is disconnected from the body, the arm by itself tries to choke him like
The
that.
arm is still sentient. The arm still has life power.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, let me see.
There it is. You've got it. Yeah, there.
It's right here.
Inside of the door. Oh, it's so funny.
It's so crazy. But this is pretty much it. Like, this is pretty much all the movie is. And then, of course, he runs off. The car's completely totaled, so he can't really do anything. So he runs off. And he ends up back in the. Okay, I'm a little too far. He ends up back at that gas station in the beginning of the movie. That one dude. He just runs in, uses the phone, and tries to call. He calls this one place that tries to take down, or tries to shut down the broadcast of Silver Shamrock.
Yeah, the commercials.
And two of them shut down because back then there were 3 major networks, and so this was on every channel.
Only 3, folks. Only 3.
So I got a question for you. What do you think of that third channel was? You think it was freaking ABC?
Oh God, I have no idea. But no, probably wasn't it great that they did this scene? It reflects, the beginning, the opening scene, the chase to the gas station, and then they got him at the end running to the same gas station.
Yeah,
I really like that. But he's screaming down the phone, "Now turn it off! Switch it off!
Turn it off! Stop it! And then the movie ends. So I got a question. Do you think in your head, Cam? Do you think he saved the day, or do you think everybody just every child in the United States just had their faces turned into they all died and their faces turned into bugs?
Oh my God, it leaves it to your imagination, but I think, he didn't do it in time. He didn't stop that last channel, did he? And so whoever was wearing the masks, they're gone.
Including his kids.
Oh,
bastards.
No.
Bastards. They had to establish that. They had to establish that in the beginning of the movie, that his kids were super fans of the mask and Silver Shamrock. So yeah.
That's right, and they reinforced it with the scene where, like you said before, that he phones his ex-wife to say, get the kids, get rid of the masks, don't have them have the masks, and so you know they've had it.
So what is the moral of the story here? Be good to your ex-wife. Be good to your ex-wife, because it may one day save your kids' life.
So strange. I can't even think of a moral. It's like, do all American doctors look like him and act like him? Are they secretly PIs, private investigators going off on cases?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But
picking up young women.
So I got a question. So besides, so we talked about the effects. We talked about, cinematography was pretty standard for a horror movie. There was no like first person shots. It was all, I already mentioned the John Carpenter stalker sidestep with those android dudes, similar to Michael Myers. What did you think of the music? What did you think of John Carpenter and Alan Howarth's soundtrack to this one?
I think it's absolutely brilliant, and Neporial, the very opening credits before it even starts the movie, it's not the main theme, but there's a really foreboding like synthesizer, this electronic theme. It's so great. It's showing is it a TV screen with an orange pumpkin on it? I just love that. The opening credits, it sets it up, it puts you in the mood, as you were saying before, it makes you like almost anticipate, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
And then the main theme, is great as well.
Yeah, here we go. Perfect right here. Yeah, and I used that. That's how I opened. That was the when I dipped to the poster in my opening. I played the opening part of this opening right here, because it was just, it's like it had that beeping, that beep 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 boom boom boom, and then it goes into fully synthesized melodies and everything, and just pure John Carpenter right there. So yeah,
so good that he did the soundtrack with who was, sorry, you said it, is it Alan Howarth, something like that?
Alan
I
Howarth.
forget his name.
He pretty much did everything with Alan Howarth after Halloween. So Halloween was the only movie where he did the first Halloween. He did the music by himself, and he did it within like 3 days. He just came up with a 5/4 time signatured theme, because he his father, John Carpenter's father, was like a band conductor, or so he so his
Okay.
even though he wasn't fully, even though John Carpenter wasn't fully versed, like like fully specialized in music, he knew enough of it because he grew up with it, and he knew 5/4 theme, and that's where the Halloween theme came from. Bum 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 bum. So. Um, but
What do
yeah,
you think about them using the electronic music as the jump scare? These days we always kind of associate jump scares with like violin or strings, that kind of like din 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 din, the Psycho thing. But in this, I love
the
really
Psycho theme
weird.
is so old. I mean, at this point, everybody knows that theme. Like it's just,
Yeah,
but like here, like for instance, with the where I don't know if it was here. Yeah, right here. When he turns around, this guy's right behind him, and it has a pew. It
yeah, yeah,
scared me.
yeah.
I actually had to actually catch a breath. I was like, oh wait. Now usually jump scares don't usually work on me, but this one did. I don't know
Yeah, a
if it was
few of
the
these
mute.
did, definitely.
And
Jake
what's
D in the chat, he's saying synthesizing music makes the world go
Yeah,
round.
it does. It does. It totally does. So, but yeah, like what's funny is the music is pretty loud. Like the soundtrack is really loud, but then they make the sound effect showcasing like, oh, he's right behind you, he's going to kill you, he's going to attack you. That was even louder. The soundtrack was pretty loud on my ears because I was listening to it. I was listening to it right here on my screen with with my headphones on. So
Headphones,
I
yeah,
was
me
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Wow, it's an awesome way to listen to a movie.
You've got to watch with headphones on, definitely.
Like listening to, if you listen to a John Carpenter movie, and Matt, that shouldn't be, literally said you have to listen to a John Carpenter movie with the headphones. Like
Decent
that's how I
headphones.
watch Prince of Darkness too. So, but yeah, that was what else have we not covered? We covered music, covered we talked about Tommy Lee Wallace. Um,
I didn't realize
same.
it was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. I thought
So
was there an
apparently,
original script first, wasn't there, from somebody from a British sci-fi writer? I
yeah.
heard
Do you know? Do you know the series? What the hell is the
the
series called?
Quatermass or the
Yeah.
Quatermass and the Pit.
Are you familiar
Yeah,
with Quartermass?
it's
What's it
before my
about?
time. Before Doctor Who, before my time. So no, I just know the name.
Nigel Neal. His name is Nigel Neal with a K.
Right, there we go.
That
Yeah, I
wrote
don't know
it,
him.
and of course, Dino De Laurentiis is like, this is not violent enough. Let's make this violent. And he's like, okay, take my name off the frickin' credits. I don't want to be associated,
Yeah,
because a lot of people, especially a lot of writers and directors and critics back then, especially Roger Ebert, especially Gene Siskel, really violent, over violent stuff was just not just like very poor taste. Was considered very poor taste by like movie snobs back then, movie critics and everything. And so like that's why horror movies in general got such a bad rap, because of especially the overplay on violence and of course its derivative nature. Halloween was actually one of the few that Roger Ebert like strictly defended, and the reason why the movie got successful is because of Roger Ebert. So, and that's why.
oh,
So you can
really?
thank Roger Ebert for the slasher craze that he. I'm sure him and Siskel, or I'm sure he regrets, because Siskel, if you know anything about Siskel, like Siskel literally like doxed Betsy Palmer, who played Mrs. Voorhees in the original Friday 13th. And he's like this, like he literally puts out on the paper in his review for Friday 13th, you are better than this, Betsy Palmer. You are better than this. And if any fans, if any fans want to complain, here's her address. Here's her mailing address.
No, you're joking. It's
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
luckily it was the wrong address, but that would have been a major, like, now you can't. Yeah, I mean, doxing is no. You cannot do that. So, but he
Back in
did
those
that.
days, then probably like the genre movies, like as you know very well, science fiction and horror, they were just looked down on, weren't they, by most mainstream critics?
Yeah, it was just considered over violent and promiscuous, and that's pretty much what it was. People, I mean, a lot of people were. I mean, I'm sure some, even like there was a mix of left wing and right wing critics. I mean,
Yeah,
Pauline Kael is a big movie snob when it comes to that. Like, I've tried reading her review for Planet of the Apes. Like, I had to look up half the terms that she used in the review. I'm
really.
like, what the? What the hell is she talking about? Like I don't know, like that just goes to show you how I need to learn quite a bit more about philosophy and and the art of theater, because I don't know shit. to be perfectly honest. So, um, but yeah, this is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and I'm just curious, Gray, what would you give this movie? So I think yesterday, I think you gave Nightmare on Elm Street an 8.5 Nerdporials out of 10. Yeah, I'm making this about
Yes,
me again. So I'm
I
curious
did.
how many Nerdporials you give this one.
Let me think. Um, Mainly for the bizarre factor, the weirdness to it. You know, the ideas. I'd give it a strong 6.5 Nerdporials out of 10. 6.5.
6.5. Yeah, I'd probably be there too. 6.5, 7 out of 10. I like. I mean, the tensions there. Tom Atkins is always awesome. Uh, the practical effects were practical effects were pretty good. By the
Yeah.
way, there was one thing I forgot to talk about that we learned from the stuntman who was involved. His name was Dick Warlock. He played Michael Myers in Halloween. He played the Shape or Halloween or Michael Myers in Halloween 2.
Halloween 2. Yeah, I read
At least
that.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
at least I think it's this one. Let me find him. Let me find him. Okay, Halloween. All right, he was already captured. So this is it. So this is.
One more
So
day to
remember
Halloween.
remember how he kills? Remember how he kills the android?
Oh God, yeah. He
He
just like punches
punches
him in the
him.
stomach.
He punches him in the stomach, and you see this orange stuff. You know what? And Dick, you know what Dick Warlock said that stuff was? That was
What?
frozen concentrated orange juice. So he not only had it in his he not only so Tom Atkins not only had it in his hand, but if you take a close look at his,
he's,
let me see if I can find
he's
a shot
pulling
of his
wires
face.
there, isn't he? Something.
Yeah, let me see if I can
Oh.
find get a picture of him with his face. All right, no, come on. Let me see. All right, right there. He's got the orange juice dripping out of his mouth too. There you
Oh
go.
Jesus. It looks pretty good though. It's pretty gross, isn't it? Again, it's just
Yeah,
a weird look to it. It's not blood. It's not red or black like you'd expect. It's
it just
orange.
it's just like yeah, it's just orange. So like okay, so I guess orange juice, frozen concentrated orange juice, frozen concentrated orange juice is what lubricates all those gears and bike chains
These Men
in
in
this.
Black, almost Men in Black like androids. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Emporio,
So they
there's one more scene that I really liked as like visually, but it's probably difficult to find. It's just a moment, but I think they used this scene for some of the covers for either the DVD or the video. There's a great scene of kids walking against. It's like a silhouette of kids wearing Halloween costumes, and there's a sunset behind them. It's just advertising, it's Halloween now. Oh man, that scene, there's something about it. The shape of the kid, one's wearing a witch costume, one's wearing whatever. But yeah, it's very difficult to find. Don't worry about it. But against the sunset, so good.
no, it's right here.
Oh yeah,
They're
this is
showing
it.
almost every major city. So the one thing they wanted to establish here is that every major city, the kids are wearing the silver shamrock masks are
Yeah.
popular all over the country. So if they enact their plan, every kid in the United States is going to turn to bug
Oh my
faces.
god.
And yeah, so that's the end of the United States. So
What a
now
dastardly plan.
well, I think it would have been more dastardly if they would have showed like Beijing, China, Bombay, India, Tokyo,
Mm.
Japan, Sofia, Bulgaria. I don't know why I said Sofia, Bulgaria, but hey, Bulgarians exist too. So gotta give that Bulgarian representation here, and of course Cape Town, South Africa. You have to include Africa. Should have been all over the world, to be honest, but I think that would have been a budget problem, maybe. It might have been a logistical problem, but I would prefer to be a worldwide,
Oh
be a
yeah.
worldwide thing. That way, the stakes would be even higher. But we'll just limit it to the United States for the sake of, yeah,
Even the United States has how many different time zones? Is it four? Four time zones or five? So it's like, how do they work that out with watch TV at 9 p.m. exactly?
yeah.
Ah. Don't worry
So,
about it.
so
Oh,
right,
I
yeah,
think
right
this is
here. I
it.
think this is it.
Then he goes on, you just see the shot against a gorgeous orange sky.
Yeah, and you hear boom, 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 boom.
Boom,
Eight
boom,
more
boom,
days,
boom, boom.
one more day till Halloween. Like London Bridge has fallen down. I was like, where have I heard this before? I realized, oh yeah, it's London Bridge has fallen down. Now I got a question: did London Bridge ever actually fall down, or is that just something they tell kids just to say?
I think it was close to falling down because they used to have buildings on it. This is talking like many, many, many years ago. There were all these buildings on top of it, and it was just too heavy. It was going to break and fall down. Napoleon is a Bulgarian god.
Just because I brought up Bulgarian representation.
What did you think of the ditty, the commercial ditty that gets in your head like a brain worm and never comes out?
Yeah, that's why I played it. That's why I played it at the very end of my opening. Like I wanted it to creep in a little bit. Boom, boom, boom,
So
boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But what's weird is when at the end of the movie the tempo gets quicker. It's like boom, 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 boom. Really, it gets really.
They speed it up. You're like, oh no!
Just to raise the tension, just to raise your anticipation of what's going to happen next, and then of course the bugs come out. So. But yeah, so I would say 7, 6.5, or I'm going to say 7 Napoleons out of 10, just because this was an original idea. It was it would be interesting if after Halloween ends, which I know is not going to happen because Michael Myers is immortal. He's as the late Mustafa Akkad said, Michael Myers is too much of a moneymaker to ever be killed. That's what he literally said. This was shortly before he died. So I think he was in Jordan. He was in the Middle East, and he got caught. Him and his daughter got killed in a bombing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And this was, I think, 2005. So like the last movie that he produced was Halloween Resurrection. So which was the one where they had the
Sorry, mate. That was it. That was when you use it for the poster, but that's the scene, the gorgeous like orange sky, and you can see the silhouette of the costume.
Yeah, it's creepy great. As hell. You're like, especially that mask right there, like the.
I know. What is that there? Is that the witch's mask they've got like kind of coming down from below the title?
I think so. Yeah.
Stretched. So cool. Great image.
Yeah, it's just iconic and very 80s, and it's a shame that this movie was successful. But it wasn't successful enough. So here's the thing.
Right.
So when a studio says a movie's a box office failure, they could be bullshitting because there was one point where the studio executives at Fox said that Alien, the original Alien, was a box office failure. So, I mean, I look here at the budget. I look here at the budget for Halloween 3, and it says it's $2.5 million budget. But then again. There's no citation, so it could be bullshit. But then the box office, according to here, says 14.4 million. So 2.5 versus 14.4 million box office. Now, of course, you have to also consider, and of course, with all the videos we watch, you have to consider the marketing, which could be almost double the budget, but that's still a decent. Still a decent. Decent profit. So
it wasn't a bomb. It wasn't a bomb at all, was it? It was successful, but as you say, I don't think it was successful enough as what they anticipated. So
because like Halloween 1 and 2 made like at least 20 times the budget.
Yeah.
So this only made like 5 to 6 times the budget. So they consider this a failure, and that's why like after this, like they didn't ask Carpenter or anybody to produce any more of these anthological films, these Halloween tales, so to speak. I'm curious if they would ever do that. I'm curious if after Halloween ends that they take a break from Michael Myers and they try to do something like this again. I doubt it, but that'd be an interesting thing to do.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about? I mean, it's probably a topic for another stream, but what do you think about the reboot, the more recent ones, bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis? And
I liked Halloween 2018, and I know I'm going to be in the minority on this, but I actually liked Halloween Kills for the most part. I thought the deaths were really brutal. The thing that I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people did not like the raid on the hospital with the people trying to raid to look for who they believe they mistaken another.
The mental patient,
they mistake another mental patient for Michael Myers. So everybody goes crazy, and this was. And so there's a lot of comparisons to a certain date, certain dates in January that I don't want to get into. But that was one.
That. Yeah,
but I think this was
kind of the mob rule mentality, isn't it? Just the mob getting together and people being afraid and panicking and not understanding, something that's different. I thought it was quite good, but I can see where you're going.
Yeah, remember Gray. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies
Evil
tonight.
dies tonight.
How many times did they say that in that movie? But beside that, all the Michael Myers stuff was great up until the
Yeah.
end. The end. So what they were trying to build is they're trying to build the idea that Michael Myers is not, or the Shape is not just some zombie that just keeps getting up. Like they wanted to give him like make him more human. Give like make him seem a little bit more like more human, like more believable as a character, not just someone that just gets shot and gets up again.
Yeah.
But the reason why
How
Carpenter,
did he survive though? The
especially
Halloween
that
2018, the first one.
exactly, it's like, well, I guess I always assumed it was luck. Like he was just like he had this like if he was a video game character, he'd have this his stat for luck would be like 100%.
Yeah.
Like every
hugely
time he
high.
gets shot, it'd be a flesh wound. Every time he got shot, it'd be a flesh wound. That's why he always gets back up, and he doesn't feel pain. Apparently. He doesn't
No.
feel pain, so he gets up and just keeps killing. And every shot is a flesh wound, or he gets stabbed. It always misses a vital organ. Like he gets killed 3 times in the first Halloween. He gets stabbed in the neck with a needle, right in the neck. Then Jamie Lee Curtis, pokes him in the eye. They kept that. They were good enough to keep that continuity straight. She pokes him in the eye with a coat hanger. He's trying to bash into the closet. And by the way, the bashing into the closet, Michael Myers was played by Tommy Lee Wallace because he was the production designer. So he knew exactly. So anytime Michael Myers punched through a door, punched through the closet door, that was Tommy Lee Wallace as Michael Myers, and it's because he knew exactly where the weakness in the set was, that he could do it himself. He knew exactly where to do it. Because if somebody else did it, like let's say Nick Castle, he would probably injure himself. He'd probably injure his hand. So, but yeah. So, but I like the movies. I'm going to see Halloween Ends in a couple weeks when it comes out. And,
nice.
The question is, are they going to truly end it, or I do think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to die. That's my prediction. And I think that's going to be it's just going to be we're just going to have to go see. We're just going to have to go see what they're doing, what they're going to do with that. So, will they kill Michael Myers? Will they bring him back for a 4th movie? We'll have to see. But that's me. So, but other than that, everybody, well, it looks like 0. According to this, 0 people are here. So let's end the stream then. So.
No, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's been a really good discussion, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Nostradamus still in the chat saying Halloween H2O and Jason X are masterpieces.
Jason X is a masterpiece, especially when he dips the woman in the frozen nitrogen, and then her face is completely frozen, and then he smashes her face on the counter, and you just see, and then he picks it up, and the face is completely gone. It's just like a red. It's just like where the face was. It's just a red.
Oh no!
It's just like a red circle on the face, and then just drops her. It was just so.
I think I need to rewatch
violent.
it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, but other than that, anything you want to plug, Gray, before we go?
No, good, thanks. I'm good. It's, as I say, it's been great, and I'm just hoping to do a similar show next week again, Napoleon, on my channel. Reviewing some kind of movie. I'm tempted to do Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors because we had such a good time with Elm Street 1, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Gray. Thank you so much for joining me. Is it like, I'm guessing it's like lunchtime for you now, almost?
Yeah, what time is it? It's 12:14, so noon. Good time. Lovely day.
I just had some sushi. I just had some sushi.
Oh, did you?
Oh. Yeah. I don't know how
nice.
it was spicy. We had spicy. It was a spicy sushi. They put the spicy like mayo on top, and
I meant to ask you, Napoleon, do you dabble with a little bit of sake or Japanese beer or not? Are you not really into drinking?
No, I haven't. I don't drink too much. Usually, I drink when I'm with people. Usually, only when I'm with people, and that's because alcohol's expensive. But yeah, we had sushi today. And it was pretty cool. So.
That sounds good.
But yeah, tomorrow it's gonna be another House of the Dragon after show. Me, Steve, Pips, and if Salty can make it, Salty. It's usually the 4 of us, and I usually break down scene by scene the the latest House of the Dragon episode, and we have a discussion. So far, Steve and Pips are not liking the direction of House of the Dragon, so
Oh,
we'll have to keep going. I'm kind of in the middle because I know the source material. I know where it's ultimately going to go. So
I thought it was
well,
good. I thought it was fine. The last episode. I know they age everybody up and it's different actors and
yeah,
actresses, but I thought it was fine. I don't see what the problem was.
they had a problem with the like just like how stupid Rhaenyra is.
Okay.
That was one of the biggest problems. And
Yeah.
her doing something that puts her and her children in danger, like
Yeah.
having sex with that dude, that Harwin guy, you know. So
Crazy.
yeah, he's clear. Those kids are clearly not. I can't think of the guy's name. I can't think of
Her,
his name,
her
but yeah,
official husband's children. Yeah, I know it's
yeah,
so obvious, isn't it? But it's like that's probably what leads to part of the downfall and the breaking up of the family and or the dynasty, I guess.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, but that's between that and of course on Tuesday I'm going to do another one for Dracula with Purple Valkyrie, 1958. So my first time watching a Hammer horror. So you're gonna have to wish me some luck. So
Good luck, mate. Yeah, they were. Oh God, I'm sure they're very dated now. 1958, did you say? But it's got
yeah,
the unbelievable, the
Christopher Lee.
unsurpassable Christopher Lee. So that'll be
Yeah.
good at least.
So that's the plan, and then of course, um, hopefully there'll be more streams down the line. So
Are you working on? You said a Planet of the Apes appreciation video. Yeah, how's that going?
retrospective, yeah, it's I'm still video editing it. I'm about a third of the way done. I'm still in the plot. I'm still in the plot. So the apes just show up. The apes show up with their horses and their guns, and they're shooting the humans. And so this
Iconic
is,
scenes.
yeah,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out how to best edit it, because one thing about YouTube, the bots and all the copyright claims really kind of dictate how you can truly edit something. So it brings about a lot of interesting problems that require solutions. So like for instance, the music, like I said earlier, I tried using some of the official soundtrack, and it gets flagged right away. So I
Yeah.
had to come up with an alternative, and I managed to come up with an alternative for, especially if I have like a regular volume, but when I'm talking, I have a lower gain. I might be able to get away with it. So
Okay.
I'll
So
have to
strict,
see.
aren't they, about music? And I've tried
So
it. I've even tried no sound and just with images. And if you show too much, they'll even claim that without sound. It's like Jesus. Trailers and
yeah,
stuff.
especially newer stuff. Newer stuff
Yeah.
will definitely get. It depends on who. Like older stuff, not as
That's
bad, not
right.
nearly as bad. Halloween 2 though, they literally pulled my video down. Like
No
they
way.
literally, yeah. Because I tried to do a Halloween 1 and 2 retrospective, and I used clips of Halloween 2, just like video clips. Pulled it down. They
No
had
way.
literally
That's an
removed.
old film. Like,
Yeah, so I just used pictures. I used pictures for Halloween 2. So
yeah, that's what I normally do. Unfortunately, it's a bit boring, isn't it? But it can't be helped.
yeah, especially in that case. But other than that, I haven't really had many problems with video. It's always music. It's
Always
always
music. Yeah.
soundtracks. So Beverly Hills Cop's going to be my next one after. Is my going to be my first one down the line, my first action one, and that movie is known for its music. So that's going to be a really difficult workaround.
Love that movie.
So I
That
want to
first
play.
one.
I really want to play like the heat is on and everything, and I can't because they want their money. Music industry wants their money. They want any copyright slight they're going to take advantage of. So there you go. But yeah, so Planet of the Apes. I want to get that done within the next few days. So right after this, I'm actually going to go do some more. I'm actually going to do some more editing. I didn't do any today. Probably should have, but I was prepping for this. So
Yeah,
um,
no, that's good. You had a movie to watch and you had prep to do, and you said you didn't take any notes, Napoleon, but I saw you. I saw you with your notebook. You had plenty of notes there.
yeah, I didn't take like as through notes. I just wrote like
No
events and things and
highlights. Yeah, me too.
highlights. So, but yeah, other than that,
Okay,
that's it.
ladies and gentlemen. Napoleon froze for a second, but he's still here. Good.
So,
No, there.
all right. So, oh, wait,
Which way is it?
sorry. You're east now of me, because now that I'm on the left side, you're
Hi from
east to me. So
Japan. Can you hear me from Japan?
I can. So, all right. But everybody, thank you for joining. And if you're watching on the repeat, consider subscribing to Gray. His link is in the description. And if you want to support me, there's merchandise and there's memberships on. There's YouTube memberships if you're interested. The cheapest one is cheaper than a cup of coffee nowadays. And so if you want anything, if you want to be part of the creative process, come join the Corporeal Continuum. Other than that, everybody, take care. Have a great night.